Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is wealthy. Very, very wealthy. That wealth has made her seem to many people as an out-of-touch elitist. And her 2020 appearance on The Late Late Show with James Corden contributed to that perception. During the interview, which took place near the start of the COVID lockdown, she showed off her $24,000 freezer stuffed with $12 a pint ice cream. She tweeted, "We all have found ways to keep our spirits up during these trying times. Mine just happens to fill up my freezer." Even some Democrats believe that cost their party some votes in the 2020 elections and provided Republicans with plenty of evidence that she was out of touch. So how did Nancy Pelosi become so rich? In this video, we'll explore that question and hopefully find out some answers. Stay with us to the end of the video to find out what we turn up and let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Nancy Patricia D'Alessandro was born in Baltimore on March 26, 1940, the daughter of Thomas D'Alessandro Jr., the son of Italian immigrants, and Annunziata M. D'Alessandro. She was the only daughter and the youngest of 7 children. It was a political family, one might even call it a dynasty. When Pelosi was born, her father was a Democratic congressman from Maryland, and 7 years later, he was elected mayor of Baltimore. Her mother was active in politics as well, running the legal and political office of her husband from their home on Albemarle Street in Baltimore's Little Italy. She is said to have coached Nancy on her political skills. Her brother, Thomas D'Alessandro III, was elected president of the Baltimore City Council. He later served as mayor from 1967 to 1971. In 1962, Nancy Pelosi graduated from Trinity College in Washington and married businessman Paul Pelosi in 1963. The couple met while he was earning a bachelor's degree in foreign service at Georgetown University. The couple moved to New York City before settling in San Francisco. The Pelosis have 5 adult children. Paul Pelosi owns and operates Financial Leasing Services Incorporated, a real estate and venture capital investment and consulting firm based in San Francisco, where he was born. In 2009, he purchased the California Redwoods, a United Football League franchise, for $12 million. Having made stock trades worth tens of millions of dollars and bringing Nancy Pelosi's net worth to an estimated $135 million, it seems almost counterintuitive that the Speaker would back legislation that would ban members of Congress and other government officials, Supreme Court justices, and their spouses from owning or trading individual stocks. Just months before the Combating Financial Conflicts of Interest in Government Act, Pelosi scoffed at the idea, saying, "We are a free market economy. They should be able to participate in that." They, of course, referring to her congressional colleagues. But some progressives, such as Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Elizabeth Warren, spoke in favor of the ban. Then, on the heels of an investigation by Business Insider called the Conflicted Congress Project, which revealed lawmakers' conflicts of interest, potential self-dealing, and disregard for a law designed to prevent corruption at the highest levels of government, Nancy Pelosi seemed to change her tune a bit and offered lukewarm support for the measure. In January 2023, Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri introduced a bill that would enact such a ban on stock trading by members of Congress. The bill, referred to as the Pelosi Act, was named to take a bit of a jab at the House Speaker, as Pelosi is an acronym for the Preventing Elected Leaders from Owning Securities and Investment, PELOSI. In 2022, with seemingly impeccable timing, Paul Pelosi snapped up between $1 and $5 million in shares of NVIDIA, a computer chip manufacturer, and that was right as Congress was getting close to passing tens of billions of dollars in corporate welfare subsidies for domestic semiconductor producers. Accusations of insider trading are not restricted to one party. In 2020, the Securities and Exchange Commission had investigated Republican Senator Richard Burr of North Carolina and his brother-in-law for insider trading, but no action was taken. Burr, who was at the time chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, and unloaded stocks at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, which raised eyebrows. But legislation barring the trading or ownership of stocks by legislators and justices has not been introduced in a form that gathered enough interest from both sides of the aisle to get through Congress. And as the debate goes on, Paul Pelosi, as a venture capitalist, has continued to regularly buy and sell stocks and stock options. Is this insider trading? Insider trading is defined as the trading of stocks and securities based on non-public insider information. And it would seem that as Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi would have access to information that would seem to bolster theories of insider trading. And since members of Congress are required to disclose their investments, and since Nancy is Paul's wife, under disclosure rules, His trades are her trades. Insider trading can be tough to pin down, however. As in Richard Burr's case, those who have been investigated for allegedly cashing in on information that may come from confidential briefings, as Burr was briefed just before the pandemic ran roughshod over the markets, they can and do point out the same information is actually available in the depths of the internet or business-oriented television programs. But now, lawmakers can pass legislation that could create favorable conditions for certain companies. And if a congressman knows whether the legislation will pass, there could be a substantial amount of money to be made. But those accused of insider trading rarely face criminal charges. Well, except for poor Martha Stewart. She sold $4,000 worth of ImClone shares right before the company's stock price plummeted. She was sentenced to 5 months in prison, 5 months of house arrest, and 2 years of probation. But she wasn't a member of Congress. It's a bipartisan issue, to be sure. Banning federal lawmakers and judges from trading individual stocks is an issue that's backed by Republican Senator Josh Hawley and Progressive Squad member AOC, and they likely don't agree on what time it is. In 2020, according to The Hill, Paul Pelosi's portfolio substantially outperformed the S&P 500, and an analysis by the New York Post found that the Pelosis have made approximately $30 million from trades involving big tech companies for which the House Speaker is responsible for regulating. In 2021, Paul Pelosi exercised options to buy 25,000 shares of Microsoft stock worth more than $5 million. Not 2 weeks later, the U.S. Army announced its intention to spend $21.9 billion to purchase augmented reality headsets from Microsoft, and in response, Microsoft's shares skyrocketed. While Nancy Pelosi was Speaker and Paul was 82, he had a couple of disturbing experiences, which had nothing to do with stock trading, but they did make Paul Pelosi a name familiar nationwide, much more familiar than if they had never happened. In August of 2022, he was convicted of driving under the influence. He pleaded guilty to the charge and was sentenced to 5 days in jail, paid a $1,723 court fine, and was placed on 3 years summary probation. Then in October, he was attacked by an assailant during a home invasion. The assailant reportedly planned to take Nancy Pelosi hostage and interrogate her. He was struck on the head with a hammer, suffered a concussion, and underwent surgery for a fractured skull. So members of Congress have access to a great deal of information that can make them very, very wealthy, but they are not necessarily protected from the unfortunate events we can all face. And with Nancy's background, coming from a family political dynasty, she undoubtedly knows the ins and outs of the political machinations dealing with stock trading. To conservatives, Pelosi symbolizes liberal elitism with shadowy hints of insider trading, and she's not all that popular among leftists either. In her time as House Speaker, her self-defined image of a centrist was not what the squad of AOC, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib and others wanted, and that exposed her to a measure of criticism from her own party. So is Paul Pelosi, and by extension Nancy Pelosi, a stock savant with an almost supernatural knack for market timing, or is it another steaming ladle full from the deep state slop bucket? Evidence and the seeming presence of corruption are one thing. Absolute proof, beyond a shadow of a doubt of it, is quite something else. It's very difficult to draw an airtight case for corruption, but at the same time, it's difficult to take denial seriously. As they say, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck. Let us know what you think in the comments section below.